Hi, everybody. Welcome inside the Waterloo Memorial Rec Complex. It is day number 4 of the U13 All-Ontario AAA Championships as the Toronto Marlboros get set to face off with Ottawa Myers Automotive today here in Waterloo. Should be a great matchup. Two teams that still have stuff to play for in this championship weekend. Toronto trying to clinch the number 1 spot in the round robin, while Ottawa still trying to play for their position in Sunday's action. As we welcome you inside the broadcast booth, my name is Dylan Baker. The Toronto Marlboros are the only undefeated team remaining in this tournament. It was a 5-0 victory for them yesterday over North Bay. A really strong performance. Kine Lee had a very good game in that contest for the Marlboros. Jackson Ross continued his run of strong play, and Jonathan Beauclair has looked terrific all tournament long. For their opponent, Ottawa Myers Automotive, they fell by a score of 6-4 to the Huron-Perth Lakers yesterday in the most back-and-forth game of the day. Tons of chances traded between those two teams. Big one here to kick off the morning. We'll send it down to ice level now for the national anthem prior to puck drop in this one. Anthem complete. We are ready for hockey here in Waterloo. Game 1 of a 5-game day here at the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. My name is Dylan Baker. Pleased to be with you for the first 3 of those 5 games here today at the Rec Complex, in Waterloo. Mentioned the fact off the top that Toronto trying to secure that top seed in the round robin. They can do so with a victory in this game against Ottawa as they try to secure a 5-0 seeding heading into their second game of the day, while Ottawa sits 2-2-0 on the weekend, trying to play their way into one of the top 4 spots and into a berth into Sunday's action. The semifinals coming tomorrow morning. The finals, the gold medal game, the bronze medal game tomorrow afternoon. It is Tyler Vonderkroon getting the start for Toronto, matched up with Wilson Beaudoin in today's game. We are ready for hockey here at the Rec Complex in Waterloo. Glad to have you along with us underway as Luca D'Agostini wins the faceoff for Toronto and Rafael Fata plays it down the ice. Beaudoin deflects it in behind the net. Aaron McLean swings it around the wall all the way down the ice, and Fata is back to play it. The game yesterday between Toronto and North Bay got intense at times between the two teams, some of whom knew each other from prior experiences. Now here's a turnover. Drew Howell on it, centering pass, just misfired in the slot, looking for Sam Gianetti there. Back on it, Aaron McLean. And I mentioned in the pregame show, Ottawa and Huron-Perth played a really great matchup yesterday. Huron-Perth came out on the right side of it, 6-4 the final score, that 6th goal into an empty net. So perhaps a closer game than even it seemed in the box score. Puck comes up the wall. Myers trying to continue to pressure. McDonald throws it in below the goal line. Rafael Fata sends it past to Luke Samek. Samek plays it up the wall to Zettis. Andrew Zettis through center. That feed cut by Owen Ovington. Ovington will fire it down the ice. Back after it, Nash Gibson. Gibson in below the goal line. Gibson stick handles, feeds it up top to the blue line. Holding, looking for a shot there was Easton Laperle. It got blocked in traffic. Myers applying good pressure here early in this game, looking for what would be a massive victory against the team that currently sits at the top of the round-robin standings in this championship, as it's worked by Jackson Ross over the blue line. Ross fires it in deep, banks off the side of the goal, and Ottawa will reset from their own end. It's Laperle onto the far side. Now a pass to the middle of the ice for Nash Gibson. Deflected. Back in comes Ross. He's hauled down. Penalty coming here, and Toronto is going to get the game's first power play. Well, the Marlboros have not conceded a goal in either of their last 2 games, and they've had a high-powered offense in 3 of their 4 contests. Just 2 goals against Waterloo in Game 3, but 4 in their first 2 games, 5 yesterday in the victory over North Bay. They did score a power play goal in that game. We'll be looking to score another here. It was Jackson Gardner who found the back of the net on the power play rather late in that game against the Trappers yesterday. Face-off will go to the right of Baudouin. Draw one by Ottawa, and they will clear it down the ice. The Ottawa penalty kill has looked solid so far this weekend. In particular against Huron-Perth yesterday, they looked very strong. They allowed some chances, but withstood anything finding the back of their net. Marlboros get it in over the line. It's Rafael Fata going into the corner. Fata centering feed, chance down low, misfires. Fata back on it. Fata to the high slot. Fata holding, throws it into the corner now. Gardner back up top, Fata. Fata for Ross. Ross working in, drops it back up top. Fata, a shot through traffic, save Baudouin. Bouncing puck, Myers clears it all the way down the ice. Another good clear there by Ottawa as they'll make changes. Toronto making some changes as well on the power play. D'Agostini goes to the bench. Here's Fata over the blue line. Fata working in. Gardner into the corner. Fata has possession. Now for Gardner down low. Gardner back to Fata. Rafael Fata has it go off his skate. Now a chance here shorthanded for Myers. It's Preston Ostapik over the blue line. Ostapik works in, cuts to the slot, takes a shot, just misses the net. Back after it, Brett Melandra. Now back on it, Jackson Ross. Ross in behind the Toronto net. Starts the breakout here for the Marlboros. Ross through center. Ross over the blue line. Ross holding. Ross shooting. Saved by Baudouin. Myers looks to clear. Ross is back on it. Ross holding, looking to distribute. Sends a pass back up top. Samek has it at the line. Samek throws it into the corner. Under 30 seconds to go in the power play. Kindly with possession. Lee goes back up top. Samek. Samek drops it up high. Gardner holding. Gardner goes back now along the wall for Samek. Samek throws it down to the goal line. A centering pass there from Andrews. Comes back up top. Gardner. Gardner sends a feed to DeMello. DeMello now for Lee. Lee works in. Lee a move. Lee on the backhand denied by Baudouin. Net comes way off as Baudouin makes the save. Gardner was able to put it on the backhand. It would have gone in had the net been on, but obviously not the case, so that one not going to count, and this game remains scoreless. Really good chances there on the power play for the Marlboros, but Wilson Baudouin able to withstand them. We'd like to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for supporting today's event. A special recognition goes to Milk, a proud partner of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Dairy Farmers of Ontario are proud to support young athletes and encourage healthy, active lifestyles. Face off in the offensive zone here for Toronto at the tail end of their power play. We're back at 5-on-5. Sammy Gracie plays it along the boards. Gracie throws it into the corner. Now back after it down low is Antonio Marchese. Marchese in the corner. Drops it back below the goal line for D'Agostini. D'Agostini to Marchese. He bobbles, banked off the boards, and Myers will get it out to center. Gracie back on it. Gracie sends a feed to Zettis. Andrew Zettis over the blue line. Bouncing puck. Back after it in the corner is Marchese. Marchese loses possession. Puck comes off the wall, out to neutral ice. Drew Howell able to clear the zone. Marlboros play it through center now, but Giannetti cuts it off for Ottawa and sends it back into the Toronto zone. Puck over the blue line. Back after it is Austin Allard in his own end. Allard swings it around the boards, and Myers gets it out to center. Beauclair drops it back for Fata. Fata sends a feed to Samek. Samek goes through center. Stretch pass knocked down. Marlboros look to regroup. It's Lee. Lee in the neutral zone. Has to reset. Get on side. Finds Beauclair. Beauclair over the blue line. Chip towards the net. Deflects wide of the goal. Now comes back up to Samek at the point. Samek works it down the wall. Plays it into the corner. Handled by D'Agostini. D'Agostini back to Samek up top. Samek walks the blue line. Samek for Lee. Lee back up high. Samek for Kine Lee. Lee trying to create space, throws it towards the goal, deflected. Myers looks to clear. They'll flip it out to center. Get a couple of quick changes here as the Marlboros look to work it back in. It's Beauclair. Beauclair throws it down low. Fata, chance on goal. Backhander goes just wide. Myers looking to clear it. It's Zhang in the corner. He loses possession. Forced up the boards though, and Ottawa able to get it out to center. A pass now into the direction of Cooper Aikens. Aikens over the blue line. Drop pass Ostapik. Ostapik a shot save. Rebound loose in the slot area. Unable to be buried by Cooper Aikens, and we'll get a stoppage in play as the net comes off. The best chance of the game for Myers right there on that sequence. Ostapik and Aikens coming in over the blue line. It was Ostapik who threw it down on goal, and Aikens was parked out in the slot but just unable to bury it for Ottawa. And this game remains scoreless. Marlboros have the game's only power play. They are 0 for 1 on the man advantage. Face-off will go to the right to Van der Kroon here off the draw. Ostapik wins it. Shot from the line off the stick of Aaron McLean. Misses the net. Now back around the boards. Evan Andrews has it for Toronto. Andrews sends it all the way into the Ottawa end. And McLean back to regroup for Myers here. McLean swings it around the boards. Out to center. A pass from Melandra. Cross ice. Now back below the goal line, reset here by Toronto. Ross out to center, D'Agostini. D'Agostini sends it past to Andrews. Back for D'Agostini. D'Agostini a shot, just missed the net. Good opportunity there for Luca D'Agostini, still looking for his first of the weekend. Ross plays it through center, Melandra a deflection. McLean back from Melandra through the neutral zone. It's swung in deep by Drew Howell. Knocked down there by Toronto and forced back out to center before Melandra sweeps it in for Ottawa. Ross in his own zone sends a pass through center offside. Zetas got it over the blue line a little bit early there for the Marlboros. This puck stoppage is brought to you by Barron Rings, the official championship ring provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Barron Rings proudly celebrates the achievements of athletes by creating lasting symbols of success and excellence. Face-off will go to the right here. Van der Kroon off the draw. Marlboros look to clear. Skated out to center by Kine Lee. Lee makes a move, comes over the blue line, plays it into space. Beauclair and close, he scores. What a play there by the Marlboros. It was Kine Lee finding Jonathan Beauclair, going to the goal, and he makes it 1-0 Toronto with his 4th goal of the championship. A great play there from the Marlboros. Lee finds Beauclair. Beauclair streaking in, and he's able to bury it. Had a goal and an assist for 2 points in their lone game yesterday. Has had points in each game, goals in the last 4 now for Jonathan Beauclair. Puck is handled by Sammy Gracie in the Marlboros end. Comes around the boards and now swung back in. Nathan Miner has it. Miner off the wall in the direction of Kine Lee. Lee trying to clear the zone. Comes back around the boards. Swung off the wall there by Gracie. Gracie into space. Bouncing puck. After it, D'Agostini. Now handled through center by Beauclair. Beauclair for Gardner. Gardner for Lee. Lee tries to go cross ice. Bouncing puck. Myers looks to clear the zone. Beauclair will reset himself at center and head off for a change. Here's Fata. Fata over the blue line. Fata. A rush up ice, gets hooked on the play. Penalty coming here to Myers. And the Marlboros are headed back to the power play for the 2nd time in this game. So Toronto 0 for 1 on the man advantage in this contest, but leading 1-0. We'll go to the power play once again here. It's Quinton McDonald headed in the box for Ottawa. Myers' penalty kill was able to withstand some good pressure from Toronto on that last power play. Off the face-off. Fata to the line, Ross. Ross cross ice for Rafael Fata. Fata throws it into the corner. D'Agostini back to Fata. Fata for Ross. Ross down low for Beauclair. Beauclair back for Fata. Takes a shot. Pad save Beaudoin. Good tracking there by Wilson Beaudoin, moving laterally to make that save with the right pad. Marlboros start the breakout here. Ross through center. Ross over the blue line. Working in. Ross in the corner, has to peel back. Sends it cross ice for Fata. Fata back to Ross up high. Ross into the corner. Beauclair one-timer, just missed the net. D'Agostini giving chase here for Toronto. Ross back with it. Ross sweeps it down low. Zettis leaves for D'Agostini. D'Agostini back up high for Ross. Ross through traffic, a shot. Beaudoin got a piece. Misses the net. Bouncing puck now. Scramble for it down low. Ottawa trying to rim it and get it down the ice. It's LaPerle in there as it's now cleared out to center, and Ross will touch up. Penalty coming here to Toronto. Looks like hooking the call here against the Marlboros, and it will have 48 seconds of 4-on-4 hockey forthcoming. It is Luca D'Agostini headed to the penalty box for Toronto. So 48 seconds of 4-on-4, followed by a minute and 12 of Ottawa power play time. Off the face-off, Marlboros control at Samek. Samek drops it back. Looking forward in his skates there was Fata. Pass through center. Myers knocked it down. Lee, fresh off the bench, will reset in his own zone for DeMello. DeMello for Samek. Samek, cross-ice feed. Cut off there. Ottawa looking to reset. It's Allard back in his own zone. Allard sends a feed through neutral ice. Ostapik. Ostapik over the blue line. Loses possession. Samek is on it. Samek. Bank pass off the wall. DeMello. DeMello muffs the pass. Comes back to Melandra in neutral ice. Melandra for Allard. Allard for Beaudoin. That's Riker Beaudoin through the middle of the ice, and now DeMello will pick it back up for the Marlboros. DeMello up for Gardner. Gardner comes over the blue line. Ottawa to the power play now for a minute and 12 seconds. Toronto officially 0 for 2 on the man advantage in the contest. Beaudoin for Ostapik. Ostapik loses possession, comes to Melandra though. Melandra tries to swing it back to Owen Ovington. Couldn't get him the feed. Ross rims it around the wall all the way out to center as Myers changes here on the power play. Aaron McLean in his own zone. McLean feeds it out of the far wall. Tried to get a return pass in space, couldn't come up with it. Now Ovington will play it over the blue line, but Toronto rejects it, fires it all the way down the ice. 30 seconds to go here in the Ottawa power play. Under 5 to play in the first period. Ostapik through center. Ostapik over the blue line. Ostapik makes a move, can't get in cleanly. Ross cut him off. Marchese will fire it down the ice, but another penalty coming here to Toronto. Hooking is the call once again. I think that's our third hooking minor over the past 3 minutes here. And it's going to send Jackson Ross to the penalty box. So 5-on-3 for 15 seconds here for Myers. Followed by 5-on-4 for a minute 45. Really good opportunity for Ottawa to get back into this game, tie things up, maybe even take the lead if they're able to score a couple of power play goals. Off the draw, Myers controls. Beaudoin at the line. Beaudoin looks to set up. LaPerle at the point. LaPerle sends a pass. McDonald back to LaPerle. Fires through traffic. Tipped. Van der Kroon makes the save. He will hold on. Well, Tyler, correction, that's Xavier Zito between the pipes for Toronto, not Tyler Van der Kroon. Zito had a 24-save shutout in Game 3 and stopped 21 of 22 in Toronto's victory over Quinty in Game 1 of the round robin. Off the face-off, bouncing puck. Comes back to Samek now. Ottawa to 5-on-4 out of the penalty box is D'Agostini as the puck goes all the way down the ice. And back after it now below the goal line is Riker Beaudoin. Beaudoin starts the breakout here for Ottawa. Beaudoin comes over the blue line. Beaudoin stick handling. Beaudoin looking for a shot, comes back to McDonald. McDonald along the board, stick tied up. Puck comes down the ice. LaPerle back after it. LaPerle sends a feed. Gibson through center. Nash Gibson over the blue line. Myers maintains possession. Gibson in the corner. Gibson works it along the wall, takes a bump. Gibson sends a pass to Beaudoin. Beaudoin back for Gibson in the corner. Cross-ice feed, McDonald in space, shooting. That one blocked in traffic. Puck banks off the boards all the way out to center. LaPerle resets here for Ottawa. Under a minute to go in the Myers power play. LaPerle fires it up the boards, and that's going to be whistled here for too many men. So too many players on the ice here for Ottawa. will return us to 4-on-4 hockey for 48 seconds, followed by a Marlboros power play. We'll see who goes to serve this one for Myers. But too many players to call, and Toronto will get 1 minute and 14 seconds of power play time as a result. It was self-inflicted there for Myers. They tried to fire it through center, ended up hitting a body heading off for a change. Melandra will go serve the call here for Ottawa. Beauclair's got it here, 4-on-4 hockey right now. Pass for DeMello, back to Beauclair, up top, missed. Now race for the loose puck, it's Ostapik. Ostapik on a breakaway. Ostapik shoots, he scores! Preston Ostapik buries it at 4-on-4, and this game is tied. It's 1-1. Ostapik is 5th of the tournament, building off his 2-point performance in Game 4 of the round robin for Myers. Finding the back of the net there. Skated out of the loose puck through center and made no mistake. It's a 1-1 game. So at the 12:02 mark of the first period, Ostapik finds the back of the net. Again, his 5th goal already in this championship. Makes it 1-1. First goal Toronto's given up in 2 games. Not since their 4-1 victory over Kenora have they allowed a goal. Rafael Fata sends it to Gardner through center. Gardner over the blue line. Gardner, cross-ice feed. Fata in space. Patsy Baudouin, he's down. He makes the stop. Great stop there by Wilson. Baudouin stretched out with the left pad. Final seconds here of the 4-on-4. Ottawa will fire it down the ice. This could be icing here, and it's going to be. Ovington sent it all the way down the ice just before the penalty expired, so icing the call. We'll take this moment to remind you that Entropy is the official online championship apparel provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships, offering championship gear available for order now. Again, Entropy, the official online championship apparel provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Well, both teams 0 for 2 on the power play. Toronto on their 3rd attempt right now, trying to regain the lead after Preston Ostapik scored on a breakaway for Myers. Beauclair drops a pass back up high. It's Ross. Jackson Ross had a good tournament, 6 points from the back end. Ross holding, drops it back for Fata. Fata in the corner. Fata leaves it there. Gardner working around, feeds Ross up top. Ross, cross-ice feed. Here's a shot from Beauclair, blocked in traffic. Beauclair in below the goal line, rims it around the wall. It's Ross. Ross walking in. Ross sends a pass. Beauclair cross ice now in the corner. Fata plays it out front, knocked down by Baudouin. Fata's got it back now. Rafael Fata up high. Ross one-timer. Save Baudouin. Rebound loose. Baudouin dives on it, and he will cover up. Nice save there by Wilson Baudouin to keep it a 1-1 game. Baudouin had to be sharp to find the loose puck in his crease a couple of times on that last sequence. We'll also take a second to remind you that Gatorade is the official sports nutrition beverage of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships, fueling athlete hydration and recovery to keep performance at its peak throughout the championship. Face-off will go to the left of Baudouin here off the boards. Myers looks to clear the zone. They will get it out. It's Aikens who backhands it down the ice. About 10 seconds to go now in the Myers penalty for too many men being served by Brett Melandra. It's D'Agostini through center. D'Agostini over the blue line. D'Agostini into the corner. Melandra back out of the ice. Toronto 0 for 3 on the power play in this game, but they have possession of the puck right now. It's Kine Lee who set up the first goal. Goes to D'Agostini in the corner. D'Agostini below the goal line. D'Agostini looking for options. Bank pass to Samek at the line. Final minute here of the first period. Swung around the end boards. Pass knocked down below the goal line by Ottawa and Howell. Howell swings it back around looking for LaPerle. Taken back by Kine Lee. Lee, little move, trying to get to the slot, can't do it. Myers looks to clear the zone. They've got numbers the other way. It's Ostapik down the wing. Ostapik holding, shooting, denied by Zito. Puck comes back to Ostapik below the goal line. Centering feed, bouncing puck. Now comes up top McLean. Fans on the one-timer. Back after it, Ostapik. Ostapik Looking to regain possession as DeMello plays it up the boards for Toronto. Cross ice feed for Andrews. Andrews now through the neutral zone. McLean has it back. McLean sends a feed up the boards. Ostapik just missed it. It'll go down the ice. It'll be icing called. And so Toronto will have a late period offensive zone face-off here. Marlboros open the scoring. Myers answered back. Gardner will take this face-off here for Toronto. If he can win it, they might get a quick shot off the draw in the final seconds of the period. Beauclair holding, throws it down low. Fata out front, Gardner scores! With just 7 seconds on the clock in the first period, it takes them just 5 to find the back of the net. Jackson Gardner with the goal, second of the championship, and it's 2-1 Marlboros. Great setup there from Toronto. And Gardner finds the back of the net late in the period. A set play off the draw. Get a look at it here. Beauclair found Fata going towards the goal. Fata centered it, and Gardner buried it on the doorstep. So that'll do it for the first period of play here in Waterloo. The Marlboros leading by a score of 2-1 after 15 minutes of play here in this game. Good battle between the two sides in that first period. Toronto opened the scoring. Jonathan Beauclair scored his fourth goal of the championship. At the time, his 8th point. Now he has 9 with an assist on that second Toronto goal. You get a look at the Beauclair marker earlier in the period. Ottawa able to answer back eventually, kindly. A nice little rush up ice for the Marlboros, sending it cross ice for Beauclair there, who buried it for that first Marlboros goal. Then it was 4-on-4 hockey, a pass that was too hot to handle for Beauclair, allowed Ostapik to race in on a breakaway, and he fired it home 5-hole to tie the game at 1-1. But Toronto would, of course, add a marker late in the period to regain the lead at 2-1. Nice little move by Ostapik on that breakaway, sliding it home on Zito. And then here's another look at the late goal. Just 7 seconds on the clock. Took them just 5 to find the back of the net. Beauclair, Fata, Gardner across the goal line to make it 2-1 Toronto. And that is where we sit as we enter the second period here of the early morning contest at the Waterloo Memorial Rec Complex in the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Ostapik will take the draw against Gardner here to kick off this second period. Wondered if the early start would play into maybe some sluggishness off the hop for the two teams. They were certainly feeling each other out in the first few minutes, but overall it's been a solid play for the two sides so far. Ross rims it around the boards. Marchese picks it up at his own blue line, tries to swing it out to center. Marchese for Beauclair. Beauclair now it's handled by Molyneux. Molyneux sends a pass to Melandra. Melandra through neutral ice. Bouncing puck picked up by Marchese. Marchese in over the line. Sweeps it in deep. Molyneux back for it. Molyneux rims it around the wall. Howell. DeMello bobbles. Can't hold for the Marlboros. It'll come back to DeMello now. DeMello for Gardner. Gardner for Marchese. Marchese in over the line. Swings it around the end boards. Back after it down low is Ross pinching from the blue line. Ross working into the corner. Ross drops it back now. Handled by Zetas. Zetas sends it into the corner. Tight angle for DeMello. Centering feed just deflected into the corner there, and the puck gets sent all the way down the ice. So that will be icing called against Ottawa. Offensive zone draw forthcoming here for the Marlboros. They are out shooting Myers so far in the game. You see on your screen there, 9-5. Face off to the right of Wilson Beaudoin, who's been good so far in this game. Off the draw. Myers controls, forced out to center. In over the line is Ovington. Ovington sends it onto the far boards for Gibson. Gibson couldn't come up with it. Back the other way. D'Agostini for Toronto. D'Agostini holding, shooting, sailed it high. Rebound for Andrews below the goal line. Andrews drops it back. Austin Allard will play it for Ottawa. Allard for Ovington. Ovington through center. Ovington over the red line, now in over the blue, hauled down by Zettis, and a penalty coming. So Myers headed to their third power play this game. Cross-checking is the call. Toronto is 2 for 2 on the penalty kill in this game. And they'll be looking to keep that up as Sammy Gracie goes to the penalty box here. Myers looking to break through on the power play, tie this game back up after Toronto took the lead late in the first. Face-off will go to the right of Zito here. Off the draw, Fata rims it around the wall. Beauclair sends it out to center for Fata. Fata over the blue line. Fata goes into the corner. Fata hauled down, and a penalty coming up here to Myers, so that will give us a minute 46 of 4-on-4. Rafael Fata, an end-to-end rush that draws a penalty. Myers not happy about the call, but McLean headed to the penalty box here. Well, the lone Myers goal in this game came at 4-on-4, so we'll see what this one has in store in the second period. Face-off will be in the Ottawa zone. It'll go to the right of Wilson Beaudoin. Jackson Gardner will take the draw for Toronto. Scored the go-ahead goal late in the first period with just 2 seconds left on the clock. Samek throws it in the middle of the goal line for Gardner again. Gardner shovels it back up to the point. Samek to Fata. Fata back cross ice. Gardner works in. Gardner stick handles, throws it out front looking for Fata. Patted away by Beaudoin on that chance. Myers looking to break out through center. It's Ostapik. Ostapik over the line. Ostapik loses it to Beauclair. Ostapik trying to get it back. Bouncing puck comes to Fata. Fata for Beauclair. Beauclair drops it off Gardner. Gardner through center. Into the corner. Samek has possession. Samek looking for options. Samek to Beauclair. Back for Samek, over to Beauclair again. Beauclair up high, Fata. Fata works it into the corner. Fata goes around the Ottawa net, centering feed cut off there by Melandra. And Myers will get it out to center. Ostapik will chip it over the red line in deep. 40 seconds to go here in the 4-on-4 before Toronto heads to the power play for 14 seconds. D'Agostini over the blue line. D'Agostini racing in, makes a move, cut off there. Myers looks to clear the zone. It's Aikens up for Zhang. Zijin Zhang will play it down the ice. Zhang in the corner, watched by DeMello. DeMello forces it up the wall. Now it's through neutral ice. D'Agostini tried to bank it off the boards. Zhang battling for possession there with D'Agostini, works it back to Laperle in his own zone. Laperle sends a feed to Giannetti. Giannetti now for Zhang, who will deflect it into the Marlboros end, and DeMello will pick it back up for Toronto. Marlboros to the power play now as Gracie's out of the penalty box. Zettis through center. Zettis over the blue line, loses possession of it, comes back to Ross. Ross gets around Giannetti, takes a shot, save Beaudoin. Myers looking to clear the zone, and they will. No, they won't, sorry. Back at 5-on-5, DeMello takes a shot, blocked there by Beaudoin. Toronto unable to do anything with their 14-second power play, but they're still buzzing right now. Gardner trying to work it in deep. D'Agostini after it. Couple of big saves by Beaudoin. Now Ross the line. Ross for DeMello. DeMello takes a shot, save Beaudoin. Had to fight through traffic to find that one. Gardner taken down. Toronto wanted a penalty. Centering pass. Shot goes into the corner. DeMello on it down low. DeMello for Zettis. Zettis. Watch there. A tight angle shot gets stopped, and back with it Giannetti. Sam Giannetti sends it to Zhang. Zhang will get it out to neutral ice. DeMello knocks it down. Long change here in the second period. Ottawa stuck out there with tired troops. DeMello coming in over the line. DeMello drops it back up high. Raza shot blocked there by McLean. McLean the freshest of the bunch out of the penalty box. Kyle Lee peels it back at the blue line. Lee working in. Lee drop pass. Andrews holds the blue line. Andrews sends a feed along the wall. Back to Lee up high. One-timer blocked. Lee takes a shot. Tipped on goal. Beaudoin the save. Looking to cover it up. We get a whistle. And some pushing and shoving down near the Myers net here as the officials step in to separate everybody. Marlboros head coach Anthony Marchese not happy about something on the Toronto bench. Not sure if it was how quick the whistle was or the pushing and shoving after the whistle. Both teams 0 on their power plays. We've seen 2 power plays cut short for 4-on-4 hockey in this game as well. Face-off will come out to neutral ice. Wilson Baudouin standing his ground and goal. That's a pivotal whistle for him because his team needed a change. Miner plays it in his own zone, goes to Fata. Fata back for Miner. Miner through center, pass cut, Ostapik. Ostapik sends it over the line, Aikens. Aikens lost it in his skates. Now Lee has possession. Kyle Lee gets in. Lee sends a pass to Andrews. Andrews has room denied by Baudouin. Big save there by Wilson Baudouin with a stick. Comes back up top. Miner off the boards, now Lee. Lee across ice pass. Fata slaps it in deep. Andrews looking for it down low. It's Gardner on it. Gardner sends a feed. Aikens knocks it down. Back on into the corner. Working in Lee on the backhand. Save made by Baudouin. Gardner to Fata. That shot blocked by Aikens. Comes out to center. Gardner playing it, and we've got a whistle and a stoppage and play. An equipment issue here for Ottawa goaltender Wilson Baudouin. So we'll see how they elect to solve this. We'll take this time to thank our partners for supporting today's event. Special recognition goes to Milk, a proud partner of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Dairy Farmers of Ontario are proud to support young athletes and encourage healthy, active lifestyles. Wilson Baudouin trying to fix his mask down in the Ottawa crease. They'll have a coach check it out there near the goal. A shot that caught Baudouin up high. Caused a little issue with the mask, and they're meant to do that to absorb some of the blow. One of the straps came loose and appears to be all set, and we're ready to resume. Just under 9 minutes to go in the second period. 2-1 Toronto the score. Face-off will come out to the neutral zone. Toronto thought they should have had an offensive zone draw after the stoppage and play there. Off the face-off. Myers controls. Allard drops it back now through center for McDonald. That pass cut. Ross in over the line. Came in offside. Forced back up the boards. McDonald in deep. Here's Marchese. Marchese sends a feed cross ice. Gracie. Gracie's in over the line. Tries to cut to the net. Can't do it. Allard looking for it now. McDonald. McDonald from his own zone sends a pass cross ice now through center. Comes to Allard. Allard over the blue line. Allard takes a shot. Rides off a stick. Goes up and over the glass out of play, so we'll get a stoppage, and this puck stoppage is brought to you by Barron Rings, the official championship ring provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Barron Rings proudly celebrates the achievements of athletes by creating lasting symbols of success and excellence. Face-off will go to the left of Xavier Zito, who has not been tested very often in this second period. No shots, in fact, for Myers in the second frame so far as we are approaching the halfway point of the period. Puck gets forced up the boards. Beauclair out to center. Myers trying to force it back down the ice. Ostapik couldn't catch up to it, and it'll be icing. Myers trying to say that it was deflected in the neutral zone. We'll see if that is granted or not, and it looks like it might be. A discussion between the two linesmen there, and I think that they're going to put the draw at center. It's the icing nullified. And Ostapik will take the draw in neutral ice for Myers against Andrew Zetas here. Nope, Zetas will give way to Jackson Gardner. Gardner wins the face-off. Beauclair for Fata. Rafael Fata fires it in deep around the boards. McLean looking for it now. Beauclair. Beauclair chips it back down low. Melandra. Melandra for Howell. Howell through center. Knocked down, Ostapik applying pressure. Ostapik over the blue line. Howell looked to be offside there, but won't get called. And now Fata will play it to Zetas. Zetas, cross-ice feed. Fata's over the line. Fata goes into the corner. Fata rims it around the boards. Beauclair. Beauclair, stick handles. Up top, Samek. Samek a shot, save Baudouin. Myers looks to clear the zone, can't do it. Beauclair down low. Loses possession. Myers rims it. Can't get it out. Samek at the line. Samek makes a move. Ostapik on him. Now comes back in deep. Laperle. Hit there by Zetas. Zetas jams it up along the boards. Now Beauclair. Beauclair up to Samek at the point. Samek takes a shot. It gets blocked. Howell tries to knock it down and clear. Can't get it out. Gardner's got it. Gardner at the blue line. Gardner throws it into the corner. Samek. Tight angle shot tipped on goal by Beauclair. Save made by Baudouin. Beauclair looking for it. Now comes back in the Myers end. Beauclair below the goal line. Centering feed off the stick of a defender. Saved by Baudouin. Ostapik plays it off the boards and Howell is through center. Howell drops it back to Ostapik. Ostapik over the line offside. Melandra snuck in just a second early. And so that leads to a stoppage in play here. Neutral zone draw forthcoming. Toronto out shooting Ottawa. Myers still looking for their first dangerous chance here of the second period. They generated a few of them in the first. This Toronto team, undefeated for a reason, playing very well throughout the championship. Matix Marino fires it in deep for Myers. That's going to be icing called here against Ottawa, so a draw will take place in the Myers end. Bit of a slower pace here through the middle part of this second period. Both of these teams have 2 games to be played today. On the final day of round robin play, Huron-Perth will be Toronto's next opponent at 4 p.m. Ottawa plays Quinte at 2 p.m. Puck gets fired down the ice by Ross there. Molino looking for it. Now Andrews. Andrews below the goal line. Tries to wrap it around. Save made by Wilson Baudouin. That Myers-Quinte game will be a massive one towards deciding who gets a berth into Sunday. Quinte 3-1-1 right now. If Myers are able to win this game, they'd be 3-2 and could put themselves in a good spot to make it through. The Huron-Perth Toronto game will also have ramifications on tomorrow's seeding, as Huron-Perth currently occupies the 4 seed, which is the last berth into the semifinals. Puck gets played through center play to the high stick, so we'll get a stoppage, and we'll remind you that Entropy is the official online championship apparel provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Entropy offers championship gear available for order now. Again, Entropy, the official online championship apparel provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Off the face-off. Marlboros have possession of their own zone. Pass through center. Andrews deflects it down the ice. Allard. Allard loses possession. D'Agostini for Lee on the doorstep. Denied by Baudouin there. Ross looking for it on the far boards. Gets it back to D'Agostini. D'Agostini now Allard. Allard swings it around the wall. Comes to Ross. Ross holding at the left point. Ross throws it into the corner. D'Agostini. Myers looking to clear the zone. McDonald. McDonald to Gibson. Gibson, cross-ice pass. Banked off the boards by Giannetti down the ice. And this one's going to be icing again against Ottawa. Third icing called against Myers in this period. Face-off will go to the left of Baudouin here. Off the draw, Fata racing in with a shot, saved by Baudouin on that chance. Myers will fire it all the way down the ice, and they've iced the puck again here, so it'll just be another offensive zone face-off for the Marlboros. Back-to-back offensive zone draws, still no shots in the period for Myers. Xavier Zito trying to stay sharp at the other end of the ice. Wilson Beaudoin has been sharp in the Myers end, in particular in this second period. Off the draw. Beauclair looking for it. Myers gets it out to center. Howell fires it cross ice. Melandra over the line. Melandra shooting off the end boards. Howell out front, scores! Just like that, this game is tied. All it takes is one good chance, and it's Drew Howell to bury it. Second of the championship, it's 2-2. Well, there are no shots of the scoreboard coming into that chance for Drew Howell in this second period for Myers. Just the 4 of the first, and then Howell able to bury it off the end boards, chips it past Zito, and it's a 2-2 game here in Waterloo. Myers has been able to withstand the pressure. The work of Wilson Beaudoin in goal cannot be understated. As Fata plays it cross ice, Samek goes off the boards, now racing in. Zetas a shot, save Beaudoin, rebound chance, just goes wide. Toronto nearly took the lead right back. Zetas in the corner, tries to leave for Marchese. Zetas, stick handling, Zetas cross ice feed, finds Samek. Samek into the shot, Beaudoin makes the save and holds on. Nice save there by Wilson Beaudoin, who's been terrific in the game for Myers. Also has a terrific mask. Quite the design on that. Looks great. Draw will go to the left of Beaudoin here. Off the face-off, won by Toronto. Cross-ice pass knocked down by McDonald. McDonald out to center, bouncing puck. Ovington fires it down the ice. Samek back with it below the goal line. Samek scans the ice in front of him. Samek sends a feed to Fata. Fata goes back through center. Fata over the blue line. Fata racing in. Fata trying to cut towards the net. Loses possession, then a takedown in the slot. Fata going back and forth with the Myers player, and nobody in the crowd very happy about that one on either side, excuse me. Myers nearly offside there. Marchese's got it in his own zone. Marchese to Samek. That pass deflected by McDonald, comes back to Marchese. Marchese finds Kine Lee. Lee over the blue line working in. Lee circles back at the blue line. Drops for D'Agostini down low. D'Agostini into the far corner, Andrews. Andrews up top. Cross ice feed, Ross. Ross holding. Ross shooting through traffic. Save Beaudoin. Lee on the rebound. Beaudoin got to it. How did he stop that? Wilson Beaudoin fighting through traffic, made the initial save. The rebound came to the slot, and he had to get a shoulder up to make the stop. There's the initial save with the pad, and then gets back up with the left shoulder to make the save. Wilson Beaudoin, spectacular in this game for Ottawa. Off the draw, won by D'Agostini. Ross fakes a shot, works it into the corner, watched by Melandra. Ross circles back, stops on a dime, looking to find a pass. Shovels it down low. Centering feed, looking for it. Andrews battling for possession, whacked out of midair by Ross. Save made by Beaudoin. Here comes Myers through center, racing ahead Melandra. Melandra holding, shooting, blocked in traffic there by Gracie. Ostapik now in the corner. Ostapik a pass, it gets blocked. Lee fires it out to center. Lee trying to race ahead and get by Howell. Lee over the blue line, pass cross ice blocked. Puck comes back out to center. On it is Ostapik. Ostapik over the blue line. Ostapik holding. Ostapik trying to move, kept away there by Gracie. Marlboros are out through center. Beauclair has space. Beauclair working in, kept away nicely by Giannetti. Giannetti goes around the boards. Melandra out through center. Ostapik. Ostapik has Howell. Ostapik working in. Ostapik holds. Ostapik looking for a trailer. Couldn't find one. Zetas gets through center. Here come the Marlboros with numbers. Zetas holding, cross ice pass. Beaudoin got over and stayed out. Do you believe that? Marlboros saying that it was in the net. They'll talk about it here down near the Myers goal. We'll see what they rule it. We saw in the North Bay Kenora game a few days ago that there was a goal allowed after initially being waved off, and it's a good goal. Got to look at it on the replay there. Marlboros will get this goal on the scoreboard. And it's a 3-2 game. We'll see who gets credit for that one. It was definitely close down at the goal line. Beauclair plays it off the wall. Thada tries to swing it in deep. Pressure on the near side. Marlboros have it now in the corner. Zetas down below the goal line. Zetas maintains possession. Myers off the glass. And we'll get a stoppage in play here. We'll take a moment to remind you that the Hockey Hall of Fame is a proud partner of this championship weekend. And as a proud partner, the Hockey Hall of Fame provides players the game for all championship games. The Hall, home of the Stanley Cup and hockey at its best. 3-2 Marlboros lead, thanks to a goal that was initially disallowed and later changed by the officials to a good goal. D'Agostini centering feed, bouncing puck, comes back into the corner. Looking for it there, Marchese. Marchese down below the goal line, D'Agostini. D'Agostini circles back. Jackson Gardner gets credit for that goal that was initially disallowed by the officials. Baudouin makes a save there, so Gardner's got 2 goals now in the game. Shot from the line, pad save Baudouin there on a deflection out front. Myers looks to get it out to center. Ross will play it. Ross to Andrews. Andrews pass off the skate of McDonald. Allard goes after it down low. Now Thada. Thada loses possession. Myers trying to force it out, held by Andrews at the line. Allard back after it. Austin Allard in his own zone. Allard out to center. Gibson. Gibson comes over the blue line, 3-on-2, drop pass. Shot turned away by Zito. Gibson back with a tight angle. Kept away there by the Marlboros. Now Beauclair through center. Beauclair racing in. Beauclair a move to slip by. Beauclair trying to take it to the net, got blocked. Myers looking to clear the zone. Dying seconds the period. Ovington slaps it out to center. It'll be handled by Samek, and that'll do it for the first 2 periods of this game. Middle frame in the books. 3-2 the score in favor of the Toronto Marlboros. It's been a battle so far between these 2 teams, and the story of the game for Ottawa has been the play of their goaltender Wilson Baudouin, who has been just terrific through the first 30 minutes of play. The Marlboros have controlled the bulk of the possession time, the bulk of the play so far in these first 2 periods, but Baudouin has been stellar between the pipes for Ottawa. Speaking of stellar, Jackson Gardner has been just that for Toronto. 2 goals in this game, including the go-ahead marker to put them ahead by a score of 3-2, and a late one in the first period that put them ahead by a score of 2-1. Can Ottawa find an answer, as they have a couple of times in this game already? Well, we'll have to wait and see in the 3rd period. We'll take a quick break, come right back with the 3rd period here after our intermission. You're watching the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships live from Waterloo.
today.
The TELUS Cup is coming to Peterborough. Canada's men's U13 National Club Championship is taking over the Peterborough Memorial Centre. From the opening face-off to the final goal of the championship game, the TELUS Cup delivers unforgettable moments at the highest level of U18 hockey in Canada. Be there for every moment. Get your tickets now at hockeycanada.ca/TELUS Cup.
Gold medal winner!
There's change, and change is always good.
I'd like to continue making sure freedom of movement is smooth. It's easier for kids to play, making sure as many kids who want to play can play, making sure that the OHF is well managed financially, well governed. Those things they're not sexy, but they're important.
Being part of the future of hockey, I'd like to make sure that hockey continues being hockey. My goal also is to be that devil's advocate, helping understand and question what we are doing to make sure that it is the right thing to do in the future.
Progress that I would like to see is to really continue to push the game and to push the quality of our events and the player experience, and bring in some new and exciting and innovative initiatives like online streaming for our OHF championships.
For me, it's all about the players. They will always need support. We need to nurture their well-being physically, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. How can we do that in a good way? What does that look like? Growth and development, what change looks like in a good way, the culture and respect and integrity for the benefit of the players, and accessibility at all levels. So recruitment and retention for players. How do we get volunteers on board? How do we keep them involved? And how can we make that process streamlined and easier for that to happen?
What I would like to see is spend more time on recreational hockey and provide the recreational player who make up most of our membership feel more important and more worthy of the attention that some of the representative teams and people get, and translate that into the recreational stream.
It's an avenue by which players get to participate in a recreational activity that's structured, that's safe, and that, as I said previously, produces some pretty good citizens.
What progress I'd be looking for are just continued work towards inclusion, diversity, making the game more affordable, making the game easily accessible in terms of registration, and also continue the path of continued growth within hockey.
The vision of hockey in Ontario is a very complicated issue. There are a lot of people that have a lot of different views about what it should be. We work together better now than we ever have. We're on the same page more now than we ever have. So my job is to listen to people.
I'm most excited about the leadership role that OHF is taking on, and you can really see it in the customer service that's being delivered. Always thinking about the players and always thinking about the experience of enriching communities through hockey.
Success as chair to me would be having people say the members of the Ontario Hockey Federation get along better than they've ever gotten along. We collaborate more than we've ever collaborated. We trust each other more than we've ever trusted each other. If we all communicate and we all trust each other, we'll all make progress.
Personally, receiving the scholarship, it's meant a lot to me. It kind of brought some light to what had happened to me. I wasn't able to work for about 6 months. It's helped me and my family a lot, just paying for school and it being less of a burden. I want kids to have the same experience I had when I was a kid. I think a lot of people bond over hockey and what it's given to them, so I want to give the same to the future youth.
As someone that never played at a high level of hockey, I never really imagined being a professional referee until 2022. And I really thought, where could this job go? So I played A in Mississauga, and the association reached out to our team for timekeepers. And when I wanted to start, they offered me a position to start officiating. From then, just climbing through the ranks of the Mississauga Hockey League, Greater Toronto Hockey League, and into the Ontario Hockey League.
Not playing at a high level is one thing that sticks out when you go to referee at a high level. I feel like I have something to prove going into these bigger games and big rinks. Some coaches know that you never played at a high level, so how could you be refereeing? And it's important to remind yourself that you're there for a reason, just like they are. Your name didn't fall out of a hat and all of a sudden you're refereeing a professional hockey game. Off seasons are where you make the most gains as an official and player. Something that I think is very important as an official that didn't play high-level hockey is your skating ability. Take power skating lessons, sit on the ice, whether it's with your friends or alone, and get skated. As you climb the ranks and start to officiate major, junior, and professional hockey, you really start to notice the difference that communication makes with the players, coaches, other officials, and above. Staying composed, professional, and handling pressure is very important. Stakes are so high that we need to make correct, accurate decisions as best as we can. We don't get replays like you do at home watching the TV. We've got to make it that split second, and it's got to be as accurate as possible. I think getting into officiating can be daunting at times. You get yelled at, people think you're wrong, when really most of the time you are right. You start second-guessing your abilities and you get discouraged. So I think just reminding yourself that all the hard work and dedication that you put into over the years, it's very rewarding in the end.
So that specific shooting drill that we were working on today is to help give them those extra shooting techniques so that in a game-like situation, they're not just using one or two, they've got multiple ways of being able to shoot the puck. Not only does that make it more difficult for the defenseman to defend, but also for that goaltender to not only track it, but making sure that they're able to square up on the puck as well. So just helps them become more of that lethal player that they're looking for at that elite level.
Out here, we're working on a lot of transitioning, walking the blue line, puck retrievals. Lots of that has to do with being able to take good angles to pucks, good routes to pucks, being able to shoulder check, being able to execute some deception. There's a setup, there's a trap, there's a payoff to every move. So making sure that the players are understanding the process in how to identify danger, identify options, and how to misdirect players under a stressful environment.
So a lot of our focus points here at the Program of Excellence Under 15 is going to be helping the goaltenders a lot with their preparation before the shot. Things like leading with the eyes, scanning the ice before they make their movements, being able to put themselves into the right places at the right times, and ultimately set themselves up for success when the shot comes off the stick. We're also going to be tying in a couple small technical areas where we're talking about a lot of sequencing in their movement, about how the body is supposed to operate from the top of the head down into their skates in order to generate that real strong and effective movement.
Back inside the Waterloo Memorial Rec Complex here as Game 1 of a busy Saturday continues between the Toronto Marlboros and Ottawa Myers Automotive. The Marlboros leading by a score of 3-2 after 2 periods of play. Jackson Gardner has 2 goals in this game for Toronto, and he'll be looking to find the hat trick here in the third. Myers trying to mount a comeback. Each time that Toronto has scored, Myers has answered back to tie the game. Will that be the case here in this final stretch of this one? A pivotal game for Myers, sitting with a 2-2 record in the championship, trying to pick up their 3rd victory and be the first team to defeat the Marlboros here in Waterloo. Off the face-off, Myers controls Melandra, plays it back into his own zone. Handled there by Aaron McLean. McLean back towards Melandra. Melandra skates through center with possession. Melandra over the blue line. Melandra for Ostapik. Ostapik out front, just missed the net on that chance. Howell was going to the crease, couldn't get a shot away. Howell tied up by Fata. D'Agostini tries to shovel it off the wall. Marlboros get it out to center. Lee over the blue line. Lee working in. Lee to the slot, takes a shot, misses the net. Baudouin dives down to keep it out. Puck is loose, trickles across the blue paint and misses the net. Back now on the near side, Myers will fire it down the ice. Samek couldn't catch up to it. It'll be icing called against Ottawa, and the face-off will come all the way back into the Myers end. Wilson Baudouin has been terrific in this game for Myers. He's made tons of pivotal saves and is the main factor. This is a 1-goal, the main reason that this is a 1-goal game. Here in the 3rd period, off the face-off, Beauclair drops it back for Ross. Ross sends it out front for D'Agostini. Couldn't get a shot away. DeMello a try from the line. That one blocked in traffic. Bouncing puck, Andrews. Andrews in the corner, now behind the net. Tries to bank it off the boards, Beauclair. Beauclair can't come up with it. It's Ovington firing it all the way down the ice here for Myers. And they've iced the puck again. So 2nd icing of this 3rd period for Myers. They iced it 3 times in the 2nd frame. Top line out there for Toronto, though they don't really necessarily have a top line, but these are the guys who have put up the most points here over recent games. Beauclair throughout the whole tournament. Gardner here over the last few, and Andrews looking for his 2nd goal of the championship. Ross the line. Ross takes a shot, tipped by Beauclair. Baudouin makes the save and holds on once again for another stoppage in play. Choppy start here to this 3rd period as both teams try to get settled in, try to build some momentum in the final frame. Toronto has not had any insurance in this game whatsoever. They led 1-0. Myers tied it up at 1-1. Marlboros took a 2-1 lead. Myers tied it up at 2-2. And now Toronto with a 3-2 advantage. Off the draw, Ross. Ross rims it around the end boards. Beauclair. Beauclair centers. Gardner bouncing puck. Gardner on the backhand denied. Rebound. Beauclair scores. He's got a nose for the net, and he finds the back of it there to make it 4-2 Toronto. Beauclair's 2nd of the game, and the Marlboros lead by a pair. Get a look at that last sequence. Beauclair centered it. Gardner went to the backhand. He got stopped, but Beauclair right there to jam it home. Beauclair now up to 10 points in the championship through 5 games. Myers with possession. It's Giannetti. Giannetti sends it cross ice. Howell over the red line. Battles for possession. D'Agostini looking for it. Howell tries to force it ahead. Howell in the direction of Ostapik there. Now Marchese. Marchese drop pass Zetas. Zetas takes the bump, maintains possession, goes to Fata. Fata, shot saved by Baudouin. Rebound, Marchese whacks at it, blocked. Marchese just missed the net there. Myers trying to clear the zone, hit the helmet of Zetas. Zetas back after it. Zetas into the corner, battles with Allard. Comes back below the goal line. Now Howell giving chase. Allard is on it. Allard sends a feed. Gianelli through center for Howell. Howell giving chase in the corner. Howell centering pass. Quick shot there. Wristed wide of the goal from Ostapik. Now Giannetti. That shot blocked. Giannetti throws it into the corner. Melandra. Melandra back to Giannetti. Giannetti takes the shot, blocked again by Zetis. All the way down the ice now it goes, and Baudouin will play it for Ottawa. Melandra, a deflection. Ostapik sends it down the ice. Picked up below the goal line by Sammy Gracie. Gracie, a long feed for Beauclair. Beauclair into the corner, Gardner. Gardner battles there for possession with Aaron McLean. Now back on it is Beauclair trying to tuck it home, looking for the hat trick. Gardner centers, looking to get it to Beauclair. Couldn't find him. Back the other way. Ovington sends a feed. McDonald. McDonald over the blue line, makes a move. McDonald on goal, scores! Myers is back within one. Quinton McDonald, first goal of the championship. McDonald fires it home, 5-hole. To make it a 4-3 game here in the third period. Ottawa's had an answer pretty much every single time Toronto's scored, with the exception of that third goal, which the Marlboros followed up with a fourth. But right there, Ottawa answers right back within a goal again. They've been really good at capitalizing off the rush in this game. They've not had a ton of sustained pressure in the offensive zone, but off the rush, they've capitalized. Matix-Marino sends it off the wall. Nash Gibson looking for it. Now Andrews. Andrews comes in. Andrews a move, trying to get to the net. Poked away. Marino in pursuit, comes back now. Zetis loses possession. McLean, cross-ice feed. Myers was changing. Now DeMello works it back in for Toronto. DeMello for D'Agostini. D'Agostini a shot. Rides off a stick, misses the net. Bouncing puck after it down low, Andrews. Now in the corner. Pass out of the near side. Ovington through center. Ovington stood up at the blue line, comes back to D'Agostini. D'Agostini in with possession for Toronto. Kept to the outside nicely there by Zijin Zhang. Comes back around the boards looking for it, Ovington. Now Samek at center. Samek battles with Zhang for possession. Beauclair. Beauclair sends a feed cross ice. Fata comes over the blue line. Fata for D'Agostini. D'Agostini tried to get it back to Fata, but couldn't do it. Beauclair to Marchese in the corner. Marchese back for Beauclair. Beauclair bobbles the puck. Aikens gets it out to center for Zhang. Zijin Zhang comes in over the line. Zhang takes a shot. Pad save there by Xavier Zito. Zhang for Aikens in the corner. Comes back to Zhang. Now at the line. Baudouin trying to hold. Forced out to neutral ice by Gardner. Gardner for Marchese. Marchese trying to get it back to Gardner. Gardner centering pass. Didn't find anybody. Now picked back up by Ottawa and Allard. Allard sends it off the wall. Zhang works his way in. Zhang has Aikens with him. Pass for Aikens misfires. Aikens back on at the line. Poked away by Rafael Fata. Sent back in deep there by Gianelli. Now back in, Fata again. Fata gets a pass to Zetis. Zetis takes a shot. Baudouin makes the save and holds on. Rafael Fata, one of the bigger players in this tournament, has been imposing himself physically throughout Toronto's 5 games so far, and has not been shy about mixing it up with the other teams, exchanging some words with the Ottawa bench on his way back to the Toronto side. Face off the left of Baudouin here. D'Agostini gets waved. Zetis comes in for the draw. Off the face-off, Zetis pokes it ahead, comes back now to Allard. Allard banks it off the boards, bouncing puck. Howell battles with D'Agostini, comes all the way down the ice, and back after it is Jackson Ross. Ross looks to break out here for Toronto. Pass cross ice, now Lee through center. Kind Lee over the blue line. Lee working in. Lee makes a move. Lee sends a pass. Here's a shot for Ross. Misses the net. Comes back to D'Agostini. D'Agostini in the corner. D'Agostini up top, Ross. Ross for Lee. Lee left it for Samek. Samek in the corner. Samek for Zetis. Zetis battles for possession. Zetis pokes it off the boards. Zetis cross-ice feed deflected by Ostapik out to center. Ostapik applying pressure there on Jackson Ross. Ross an outlet to center for Lee. Lee, a bobble, has to circle back in the Toronto end. A pass through center. Now Melandra knocks it down. Melandra backhands it in deep. Melandra pursues. Ross back there for it. Ross for Samek. Samek. Pass through center. Bouncing puck. Beauclair down the ice. Marino left it. Now it'll come back to Andrews. Andrews below the goal line. Andrews goes to Beauclair. Beauclair centering feed. D'Agostini now Fata. Fata takes a shot. Baudouin got over to make the save. Lost his stick in the process. Myers trying to clear the zone. Ovington through center. Ovington over the line, taken down. Comes back to Gracie. Gracie feed through neutral ice. Gardner, 2 goals today. Gardner to Beauclair, also 2 goals today. Beauclair taken down. Myers looks to clear the zone. Gibson. Gibson rims it in deep. Fata left it there, hit a stanchion, so a strange bounce for Fata to handle as the Marlboros play it through center. Gracie over the Ottawa blue line. That pass cut. Now a feed through center after it's Zhang. Zijin Zhang trying to get around Rafael Fata. Fata cuts him off, and Gracie will play it in the Toronto corner. Gracie out through center, a feed deflected there by Baudouin. Zetis back after it. Zetis takes a shot, deflected up and over the glass out of play. A big thank you to our partners for supporting today's event. Special recognition goes to Milk, a proud partner of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Dairy Farmers of Ontario are proud to support young athletes and encourage healthy, active lifestyles. Face off to the left of Wilson Baudouin here. Off the draw, Ross skating it into the corner. Ross goes around the Myers net. Ross scanning his options. Cross-ice feed. One-timer for Marchese Fandon. Ottawa heads back the other way. Aikens over the line. Aikens gets it into the corner. Takes a bump from Zetis down low. Hit gets laid on Zhang. Aikens whacks away. DeMello in there as well. Zhang tries to center, knocked down by Zito. Bouncing puck, and the Marlboros come back up ice. DeMello over the line. Poked there. Marchese back on it in the corner. Marchese working in. Poked off his stick. Howell sends it all the way down the ice. Is Zito going to come out to play it? No. It'll be icing called against Ottawa. The faceoff will come all the way back. This puck stoppage is brought to you by Barron Rings, the official championship ring provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Barron Rings proudly celebrates the achievements of athletes by creating lasting symbols of success and excellence. Face off to the right of Wilson Baudouin here. Off the draw. In the corner, it's Austin Allard. Allard loses possession. Here's a chance for Beauclair. Pad save Baudouin, who dives out of the loose puck and covers up. Andrews and Giannetti exchanging words down low as Giannetti got taken down. Nice save by Baudouin on that sequence. Beauclair was out front waiting for a pass. Nearly had a hat trick, but Baudouin able to make the stop. Off the face-off. Marlboros control back at the line. Pass for Fata. Fata backhands it in deep. Gardner below the goal line, centering feed deflected. Myers with possession now through center. Howell for Melandra. Melandra move. Melandra on goal on the backhand. That one goes just wide. Back after it now in the corner was Ostapik. Now around the wall, Beauclair. Beauclair sends a feed through neutral ice. Fata. Rafael Fata over the blue line, offside the call at the Ottawa line. Well, Entropy is the official online championship apparel provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships, offering championship gear available for order now. Again, that is Entropy, the official online championship apparel provider of the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships. Face-off won by Ottawa on neutral ice, now taken by Kine Lee, who tries to cut to the net but can't get there cleanly. Lee on the near side. Lee drops a pass back. Giannetti applies pressure. Now Zetas. Zetas back to the line, Samek. Samek, a feed for Zetas. Zetas throws it down low. Lee, cross ice pass, looking for Fata. Fata skates onto it now. Fata loses an edge, goes down to the ice. Myers with possession. Blown tire there from Ovington. A hit from Fata in the neutral zone on McDonald. Myers wanted a penalty, not going to get one. Back in, little drop pass from Lee for Fata. Fata into the corner. Fata around the Ottawa net. Rafael Fata still holding on, a lap of the offensive zone. Samek, a shot, tipped, and they score! Luca D'Agostini is first of the championship, and it makes it a 5-3 Toronto lead. D'Agostini, a nice deflection on that shot. Oh, they've got Fata skating it in. Was it Fata or was it D'Agostini? We'll get a look at it here on the replay. Samek takes the shot. He hit a stick out front. It was D'Agostini's. Fata led the celebration line, but I believe that is Luca D'Agostini's first goal of the championship. Off the faceoff. Pass cut by Aikens. Now Ross drops it back. A feed through center. Molino plays it back ahead and fired down the ice by Alex New. In the corner, Zhang looking for it. Zhang has possession. Zhang trying to get it back up to the blue line for McLean. Aikens in the corner. DeMello banks it off the boards. DeMello to Beauclair. Beauclair a feed in the direction of Gardner, missed him. Comes back to Wilson Baudouin, who will cover up and hold on to get a stoppage in play. It is Luca D'Agostini's goal. Luke Samek, Rafael Fata picking up assists there on that marker. Rafael Fata with his first two credited assists of the championship today. Had none coming into this game, though it feels like he's been at the forefront of so many plays for Toronto this weekend. Ottawa trying to get it through center. Ostapik looking to find Melandra. Marlboros trying to turn it the other way. Howell with pressure on DeMello. DeMello comes over the red line, fires it in deep. Now it'll be handled by Wilson Baudouin, who covers up and gets a stoppage in play. Just over 3 minutes to go here in the final frame. Toronto with some insurance once again. This time courtesy of Luca D'Agostini. Andrew Zetas will take this face-off for the Marlboros against Preston Ostapik. Zetas wins the draw, comes back to Fata. Fata goes around the boards, D'Agostini. D'Agostini in the corner. Up to Gracie at the line. Gracie for D'Agostini. D'Agostini misses it. Back the other way, here's Ostapik. Ostapik over the blue line makes the move. Ostapik tries to slip by. Ostapik a shot. Saved by Xavier Zito, who holds on. Nice stop by Zito there on the rush from Ostapik. Two teams converging a little bit in the corner as Ostapik took his man into the end boards after taking the shot. I don't believe there are any penalties on this play, but we'll see. Face-off comes out to neutral ice. Fata talking to Laperle and Riker Baudouin, the two D-men for Ottawa. Well, the OHF is pleased to partner with HTG Sports Services as its exclusive accommodation services provider. HTG is committed to providing support services for athletes, teams, and communities across Ontario. A discussion right now between Anthony Marchese on the Toronto bench and the referee about that last sequence. I believe Toronto thinks there should be a penalty on that play. Face off in neutral ice. Draw one by the Marlboros, but quickly in there, McDonald to grab possession. McDonald down low, a shot taken, pad saved by Zito. Back on it is Zetas. Zetas sends a feed through neutral ice. Knocked down. Gibson plays it back in. Fada from below the goal line. Around the boards, Andrews. Andrews now leaves it there for Minor. Minor banks it off the wall. Chopped at by Myers there. Back at the line. Gibson swings it in deep. Comes back to Minor. Minor, feet off the boards. Swept back in by Gibson. A shot blocked. Fada picks it back up for Toronto. Goes in the direction there of Andrews. Andrews sends a feed up ahead. Zetas works in. Zetas, a pass. Andrews, a shot deflected. Up and over the glass, out of play. Evan Andrews had a goal in game one. Nearly found the score sheet again right there. Good shot on that chance. Off the face-off, Marlboros control. Handled at the line by Samek. Samek works in, takes a shot, tipped wide. Bouncing puck, Melandra after it. Melandra sends a feed to Ostapik. Ostapik over the blue line, offside. The little move at the line from Ostapik there put Myers offside, and so we'll get another stoppage in the late stages of this game. Next game on the docket, Huron-Perth Kenora, coming up at 10 a.m. here at the Rec Complex in Waterloo. We got started bright and early today. 8 a.m. puck drop for this game between Ottawa and Toronto. McLean, bank pass off the boards. Melandra loses possession. Beauclair sends a pass ahead to Marchese. He's got Gardner with him. Marchese for Gardner, fan on the one-timer. Comes back up top for Ross. Ross for Gardner. Cross ice. Marchese just put it wide on that chance. Now rims around the wall. Myers looking to clear the zone. Ross stepped into his man. Comes back to Beauclair. Beauclair to Gardner. Swept off his stick. Ostapik. Ostapik flips it out to center. It'll be knocked down there by Ross. Ross for Samek. Samek over the blue line. Samek sends it cross ice. Chip play Marchese for Beauclair. Couldn't get a shot away. Marchese for Beauclair. Beauclair back to Marchese. Marchese, Beauclair in close on the backhand, tried to roof it, put it over the goal. Gardner goes up to the line. It'll be skated out to center here by Melandra. Melandra over the blue line. Melandra tries to work into the corner. Drop pass Ostapik. Ostapik couldn't take a shot. Beauclair the other way. Beauclair a feed up in the direction of Zetas. Zetas in. Baudouin the save, but he tied him up. Baudouin lost his trapper on the play. Shaking out that left hand as he had the puck covered up, and then traffic came by, knocked it off. D-zone draw coming up here for Ottawa. And looks like they've called their timeout here. With under 30 seconds on the clock. 5 through the score in favor of Toronto. Ottawa needing to find 2 goals in the final 30 seconds to tie this game. Improbable perhaps, but impossible it is not. So we'll see what they come up with down on that Ottawa bench. Steve Brush, the head coach, talking to his group. And we are all set to resume after the timeout. 28.3 on the clock. Draw will go to the right of Wilson Baudouin here. Luca D'Agostini will take the face-off for Toronto. Against Preston Ostapik for Ottawa. D'Agostini's going to get away from the face-off dot here. Beauclair will take the draw. Won by Ostapik for Ottawa. Myers looking to break out quickly here. Melandra pass through center. Now over the line, bouncing puck. Looking forward is Zhang. Zijin Zhang sends it cross ice. Corral on the far side. Ostapik, a shot sails high, rims around the boards. Beaudoin head to the bench, 10 seconds to go. Riker Beaudoin into the corner. Fana lays the body. Melandra centers. It's cut. Myers tries to hold the line, but it comes out to center, and that'll do it. So the Toronto Marlboros improved to 5-0 here this championship weekend in Waterloo as they pick up a 5-3 victory over Ottawa Myers Automotive. Another good game for the Marlboros. Controlled a lot of the play throughout this one. Some back and forth. Myers had some answers for Toronto goals, but all in all, the Marlboros overpowering in this game, and they come away with a 5-3 victory. We'll get the players of the game here momentarily down at ice level for each team. Some good candidates on both sides. Hockey Hall of Fame, of course, providing the player of the game package to these players.
For the home team, the player of the game is jointly Drew Howell.
Drew Howell, the player of the game for Ottawa, had a goal at the 10-12 mark of the second period. That one tied the game up at 2-2. For Toronto, it is Jackson Gardner. 2 goals in the contest, up to 3 now in the championship. Had an assist as well. A strong performance from Gardner from the Marlboros as they take down Ottawa Myers Automotive here in this game by a score of 5-3. Well, it was a good battle between these two sides, this morning. An 8 a.m. start, not easy for anybody, but they both came to play as we welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. Toronto opened the scoring. It was Jackson Gardner. Correction, it was actually Jonathan Beauclair who found the back of the net for Toronto to open the scoring in this game. Ottawa tied things back up. It was Preston Ostapik answering back before Jackson Gardner found the back of the net late in the first period with 2 seconds on the clock to make it a 2-1 game. Ottawa able to tie it up in the second period. Drew Howell finding the back of the net, and then a goal that was initially ruled no goal, but after the officials discussed it, they allowed the goal to Toronto. It was Jackson Gardner, his second of the game, to make it 3-2 Marlboros. They would add a 4th goal early in the third. Beauclair, his second of the contest, to make it 4-2. Ottawa would get one back to make it 4-3. Quentin McDonald, but it would be too little too late as Toronto would add another marker late in the period. Luca D'Agostini, a deflection, his first of the championship. So that'll do it for our coverage of Toronto and Ottawa here from Waterloo. Our next game at 10 a.m. here on Perth Kenora. We hope you could join us then. You've been watching the U13 AAA All-Ontario Championships live from Waterloo.